So we have heard about technology. We have heard about future. Pamela talked about personal connection, etc., etc. I'm going to go long until Julian drags me out. So, all of us are using the web. All of us are using technology. All of us are thinking about the future. I'll talk about where this internet is going 3, 5, 10 years down the road. I moved to the Bay Area in the mid-90s. And as some of you might remember, the web was considered a fad for the first couple of years. I found this Time magazine, right? Strange New World. Well, 15 years later, strange no more. Right? We go to the web for entertainment. We go to the web to look for information. We are productive because of the web. The web is our life. You can go to Mexico and enjoy tacos with the internet. Or you can go to Beijing and get a massage while you're browsing. Right? All of us are connected. All of us are addicted to the internet. There is a group for that. In some ways, we are the haves. There are many, many have-nots who don't have access to this technology. That's what I want to talk about. I can go through statistics after statistics. But what you find is, around the world, people are willing to give up their washer, their dryer, their cell phone before they give up the internet. They think of the internet as a birthright. They spend much of their time online. And we can go through all of the numbers. 1 out of 3 people around the world is using the internet. The one I find interesting is 1 billion searches on Google every day. Do you wonder what you did, where you searched before there was Google? 200 billion emails a day. That's 35 or 40 emails every living man, woman, and child. Think about that. So the internet is pervasive. The internet is pervasive. This is our life. This is your life. This is my life. The question is, what will happen next? To answer that question, I went back to the good old telephone. The fixed telephone, actually it was called the telephone instrument at the time, was invented 135 years ago. That's the picture of the first telephone instrument. When Alexander Graham invented this instrument, he had no idea how this would change over the next 135 years. And something very interesting happened 100 years later. It took 100 years for the fixed telephone to go mobile. This is not my definition of mobile, but this was the first mobile phone, right? And if you look at the knee of the curve, as mobile came, as telephony became mobile, it went off. Why is that? The mobile phone unleashed voice. Instead of me calling Pamela at home, I would call Pamela. Instead of relying on the power of the infrastructure, she has the power, right? So the mobile phone has empowered Pamela to take my call or hang up. I think the same thing will happen on the internet. The mobile device, the mobile phone, range of mobile devices will unleash this internet. This will put power in your hands and will enable personal connections. And I'll give you some examples. There will be one difference. it will not take 100 plus years for this internet to go mobile. All of us have mobile devices. We are kind of used to this. But when you go to Beijing or Bangalore, when you go from San Francisco to Seoul, you'll find a different reality. And this is the reality. 1 out of 3 people, about 2 billion people, access the internet. They do it primarily sitting down in front of their desktop PC or laptop PC. 2 out of 3 people around the world, over 4 billion people, have access to a mobile phone. But these are 2 different islands. I think what will happen over the next 5 or 10 years is these will come together. Imagine a time when every man, woman, and child can access this powerful internet all of you are looking at, and people watching on live stream are taking advantage of, right? Over 6 billion people around the world, this will be the new reality. The internet we have come to know and love, you'll be able to access it no matter where you are. It will empower you. It will put the power in your hands. It will do so much in the same fashion that the mobile phone did for voice. And when that happens, things we do on a day-to-day basis, how we play, how we learn, how we interact, how we live our life, all of these things will change. Let's look at a few examples. I have a 12-year-old niece, 12 years old. She doesn't know anything else. She has grown up on the internet. She goes to Wikipedia unprompted to do research for her homework. She spends a couple of hours on Facebook. Don't ask me how. She's only 12 years old. She spends a lot of time on YouTube. This is her life, right? Her definition of mobile is this. The laptop is a desktop for her. As she grows up, she wants to take this internet she knows and loves, Wikipedia, Facebook, YouTube, Google, etc., with her wherever she goes. She's not here, she's in India. This is not a Silicon Valley story, this is a around the world story. This is what kids of today are growing up with. A third of the population is 25 years or younger. They are the YouTube, Facebook generation. When I look back at a few years ago when I was 12, I did not have access. There's nothing to laugh about. I did not have access to Google. I had to go to some library and search for books if I wanted to search something, right? Imagine what will happen when this generation grows up. How much smarter will they be? How much well-informed they will be? How will they change the world? How empowered are they? And how will they do the good that we are talking about today? A good example is, I was in Beijing a couple of weeks ago. Beijing is becoming the country with the most English-speaking people. Most English-speaking people in PRC, because they are obsessed by it. Leading up to the Olympics, learning English was a premium. Recently, many companies, but in this case Nokia, they have introduced an internet-based service for the mobile phone where you can learn English wherever you are. Imagine what the kids growing up in Beijing and Shenzhen and Shenyuan will do when they grow up. They will not be in the PRC ecosystem. They'll be competing on the world stage. Imagine the power they are getting today with technology like this. You know, I grew up in India. I'll take you guys to the homeland and talk about the Jessica Lal story. The Jessica Lal story is about moving the power from the important and rich to the individual. Jessica Lal was murdered 11 years ago in 1999 because she refused to serve drinks to a gentleman, Manu Sharma, after 11 o'clock because he had one too many already. Manu happened to be the son of a wealthy politician, the person with power. After a 6 or 7 year court system, he was let go. He was let go because he could buy freedom. In the nightclub where this happened in 1999, there were 80 people, 80 eyewitnesses. All 80 of them refused to come forward because they were afraid of the power of the above. Something very interesting happened in 2006. In 2006, when the judgment was made for him to let go, people in India used the power of SMS and email and the mobile device they had at the time to protest to the government, to protest to the court system. Power of the people. That led to the court taking the appeal, and last year the verdict was overturned. Now in India, there are 500 million phones. Not all of them are internet connected, right? Not all of them get access to the network we have here. Can you imagine 1.2 billion people having access to the network and using the power of the internet to play a role in the judicial system? Can you imagine 6.3 billion people having access to this powerful device and having their voice heard? You know, that's the power of mobile internet. Another example, also from India, 85% of the population, working population in India is farmers. That's how they make their living. And in the absence of any technology, they grow their produce and then they sell it to the agent who happens to be there. And likely that agent is ripping that person off, right? Over the last couple of years, there has been this program instituted called eChopal. Basically, using the mobile phone, it gives you access to closing prices for rice or whatever you're growing from around the world. It gives you, it's an eBay style system. It gives you access to agents around the world. So after your produce, you can pick and choose. You are empowered to make the decision that is best for you. You are not governed by the infrastructure in India, right? Can you imagine every man, woman, and child having this power, no matter what occupation they are in? Bangladesh, there are thousands of what they call info ladies, information ladies. They basically move around with a laptop and a phone. So you can be connected to the internet. Another way to connect to the mobile internet. That's how they earn their living. Demand is greater than supply in this case, right? And using this device, using the power of mobile internet, many inhabitants in faraway places are able to connect with their family or friends, or on the business side, do the each or all kind of thing. Couple more examples. Flight to Rwanda, the death rate is very high. The ratio of citizens to doctors is very low. Not everybody has the means to travel to the hospital. So in this case, the doctor comes to you. The doctor comes to you in the form of a mobile health device, again made possible by this internet. You can monitor your vitals, you can diagnose, you can prevent, you can cure, you can do all of those things. I'm giving the example of GE, but there are other devices. The introduction of devices like these have plummeted the rate because you basically have access to the best medicine, best doctors with a device like this. Again, power to the people. Coming home, we all know what happened in the last election, right? What Obama did was revolutionize how you and I can get more involved, revolutionize people getting excited and participating in the campaign. Voting fraud is here in the US, but it's not only in the US, it's around the world. Imagine everything that Obama did. Imagine your mobile device acting as your identity. Imagine if 6 billion people had a mobile device that could authenticate who you are. Voting would go up, participation would go up, and the definition of democracy could change. So I'll stop with, the internet we know and love is very powerful. It is powerful because this is where we go to access information, no matter what we are doing. Mobile internet will bring this power to you, will empower you and I. It is just the beginning. The next 5 or 10 years can change this game. Thank you.